You know that feeling when you read an article or see a news report about things we should or shouldn't eat, and it just feels like one more thing to worry about? Sometimes it seems like everything we enjoy might be bad for us. And honestly, it can be quite confusing and even a little disheartening, can't it? Especially as we get older, we start thinking more consciously about our health, wanting to stay active and vibrant for as long as possible, to enjoy our families, our hobbies, maybe do some traveling we've looked forward to. It's completely understandable to feel concerned about making the right choices for our well-being, particularly when we hear about links between certain foods and serious health issues like cancer. That's really what I wanted to chat with you about today, in a relaxed way, like friends talking over a cup of tea. We're going to explore something specific that doctors and health experts are advising us to be mindful of. Certain combinations of foods and drinks that, when consumed regularly over time, might increase our risk of developing cancer. Now, please hear me clearly. This isn't about creating fear or saying you can never enjoy certain things again. Absolutely not. Life is meant to be enjoyed, and food is a huge part of that enjoyment, tied to so many memories and social occasions. Instead, think of this conversation as gaining some helpful knowledge, like getting a useful tip from a trusted friend. It's about understanding potential risks associated with combinations and patterns of eating, so we can make small, informed adjustments that support our long-term health without feeling deprived. Knowledge is empowering, isn't it? It helps us make choices that align with our desire to live well. We'll touch on about 4 specific combinations that research suggests deserve our attention. We'll talk about why they might be a concern, especially for us. And importantly, we'll discuss simple, practical ways to navigate them. It's not about drastic overhauls, but more about awareness and gentle shifts. So, let's start with one combination that often comes up, especially around breakfast time or when packing a quick lunch. Processed meats cooked at high temperatures. Think about things like bacon, sausages, hot dogs, ham, or deli meats like salami and bologna. Many of us grew up with these, and they're often convenient and tasty. The concern here involves substances called nitrates and nitrites, which are often added as preservatives and to give these meats their characteristic color and flavor. When these processed meats are cooked at high heat, like frying bacon until it's super crispy, grilling sausages until they're charred, or pan-frying hot dogs, these nitrates and nitrites can form compounds called nitrosamines. And it's these nitrosamines that researchers have linked to an increased risk of certain cancers, particularly colorectal cancer. Imagine this scenario. It's a Saturday morning. The grandkids are over, and you decide to make a big breakfast. Crispy bacon is often a favorite, isn't it? Or maybe you rely on deli meat sandwiches for a quick and easy lunch during the week. It's completely normal. The issue isn't having bacon occasionally. It's more about the frequency and the cooking method. That intense heat really promotes the formation of those nitrosamines. It's something many of us might not have even considered. We focus on the fat content maybe, but not necessarily how the cooking itself changes the food. So, what can we do? It doesn't mean banning bacon forever. It's about moderation and being mindful of how we cook it. Perhaps enjoying these processed meats less often, maybe as a weekend treat rather than a daily staple. When you do cook them, try gentler methods. Instead of frying bacon to a crisp, maybe bake it in the oven until it's just cooked through. Poaching sausages or simmering them gently instead of grilling them to a char can also make a difference. Choosing processed meats labeled nitrite-free or uncured can be an option, though it's good to check the labels as they might use substitutes like celery powder, which can still contain naturally occurring nitrates. And think about alternatives. Maybe swap out the deli meat in your sandwich for leftover roast chicken, tuna salad, hummus and veggies, or egg salad a few times a week. Little changes like these, done consistently, can significantly reduce your exposure to those potentially harmful compounds over time without feeling like you're missing out entirely. It's about finding a balance that works for you and feels sustainable, supporting your health goals while still allowing for enjoyment. Does that make sense? It's often the small, consistent habits that add up to make the biggest difference in the long run. Another area worth thinking about, and this one is less about a specific food combination and more about a lifestyle combination that often involves drinks, is alcohol and smoking. Now, I know this might seem obvious to some, but the combined effect is so significant, especially for cancers of the mouth, throat, voice box, and esophagus, that it really warrants mentioning in this conversation. We know that both heavy alcohol consumption and smoking individually increase cancer risk. But when they're done together, the risk isn't just added, it's multiplied. It's what scientists call a synergistic effect. Alcohol can act almost like a solvent, potentially helping the harmful chemicals in tobacco smoke penetrate the cells lining the mouth and throat more easily. Plus, both substances put a strain on the body's ability to repair DNA damage, which is a key factor in how cancers can start. Think about social gatherings, perhaps playing cards with friends, attending a party, or even just relaxing on the patio in the evening. Sometimes, having a drink and having a cigarette go hand in hand for people. It becomes a ritual, a paired habit. Or maybe someone quit smoking years ago, which is fantastic, but still enjoys regular drinks. It's important to understand that even moderate drinking carries some risk, and combining it with any level of smoking elevates that risk considerably. Many people find breaking one habit is hard enough, let alone two that are often linked. You're certainly not alone if you found that connection strong. The key message here is that reducing or eliminating both offers a substantial health benefit. If quitting smoking feels overwhelming, even reducing alcohol intake can lower the combined risk. And if you've already quit smoking, congratulations, that's a huge achievement. Being mindful of alcohol consumption remains important for protecting yourself against these types of cancers. Seeking support for quitting smoking is always a positive step, and resources are available. Similarly, if you feel your alcohol consumption is more than you'd like, talking to your doctor or a support group can provide helpful strategies. Recognizing the powerful multiplicative risk when these two are combined is a crucial piece of awareness for protecting our long-term health. It really highlights how different factors can interact within our bodies, doesn't it? Moving on from processed meats and the alcohol-smoking combination, let's talk about another pairing often seen at summer barbecues or hearty dinners. Red meat cooked at high temperatures. This is slightly different from the processed meat issue we just discussed. Here, we're talking about beef, pork, and lamb. While red meat can be a good source of protein, iron, and other nutrients, consuming large amounts frequently, especially when cooked at high heat, like grilling, barbecuing, or pan frying, has been linked to an increased risk of colorectal cancer. The concern here isn't nitrates added during processing, but rather compounds that form naturally during the high heat cooking process itself. Two main types are heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. HCAs form within the muscle meat when the proteins react to intense heat. PAHs form when fat and juices from the meat drip onto the hot surface or fire, creating smoke that then settles back onto the food. Both HCAs and PAHs have been found to be mutagenic, meaning they can damage our DNA, which potentially increases cancer risk over time. Picture that classic summer cookout. Burgers and steaks sizzling on the grill, maybe getting those nice dark char marks. It smells wonderful, and it's a scene many of us associate with good times and family gatherings. Or perhaps a perfectly seared steak in a hot pan is a favorite meal. It's completely understandable why we enjoy these foods prepared this way. Again, the key isn't necessarily eliminating red meat entirely, but being mindful of how much we eat and how we cook it. Regularly eating large portions of red meat, especially when it's charred or well done using high heat methods, seems to pose the greatest risk according to current research. So, what are some practical adjustments we can make here? First, consider portion sizes and frequency. Maybe aim for smaller portions of red meat and enjoy it less often. Perhaps swapping it out for poultry, fish, beans, or lentils on some days. Fish and poultry generally form fewer HCAs during cooking. When you do cook red meat, try using lower temperature methods more often. Think about roasting, baking, stewing, or poaching. These methods typically don't reach the intense heat levels that promote HCA and PAH formation. If you do grill or pan fry, try not to overcook the meat. Avoid charring it if possible. Marinating meat before high heat cooking might actually help reduce HCA formation. Marinades with vinegar, lemon juice, herbs, and spices seem to offer some protective effect, perhaps by creating a barrier or through antioxidant properties. Flipping meat frequently while grilling can also help prevent charring and reduce exposure time to intense heat. And trimming visible fat before cooking can reduce the amount of dripping that causes those PAH-laden flare-ups and smoke. Little adjustments like pre-cooking meat partially in the microwave before finishing it on the grill can also shorten the time it spends exposed to high heat. It's about finding ways to still enjoy these foods, but reducing the formation of potentially harmful compounds. Doesn't that sound more manageable than just saying no more barbecue? It empowers us to make smarter choices while still participating in those enjoyable food traditions. Now, let's shift gears slightly to a combination that might seem less direct, but is increasingly recognized by doctors as a major contributor to an environment within our bodies where cancer is more likely to thrive. Sugary drinks combined with ultra-processed foods. This isn't about specific chemical reactions like nitrosamines or HCAs, but rather about the broader impact this combination has on our overall health, particularly concerning inflammation, weight gain, and metabolic health, all significant factors in cancer risk. Sugary drinks include things like sodas, sweetened fruit juices, sports drinks, and sweetened teas or coffees. Ultra-processed foods cover a huge range. Think packaged snacks like chips and cookies, sugary breakfast cereals, instant noodles, frozen pizzas, mass-produced breads, and fast food meals. These foods are typically high in added sugars, unhealthy fats, salt, and various additives, while being low in fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Imagine grabbing a quick lunch on the go. Maybe a fast food burger, fries, and a large soda. Or perhaps unwinding in the evening with a bag of chips and a sweet drink while watching television. It's easy, it's convenient, and let's be honest, these combinations often taste good because they're engineered to hit those pleasure centers in our brain. Many people find these habits creep in easily, especially when busy or tired. The problem is, regularly consuming this combination floods our bodies with excess calories, particularly from sugar and refined carbohydrates, leading to spikes in blood sugar and insulin. Over time, this can contribute to insulin resistance, chronic inflammation throughout the body, and weight gain, particularly abdominal obesity, that belly fat. These conditions are strongly linked to an increased risk of several types of cancer, including colorectal, breast, postmenopausal, pancreatic, liver, and endometrial cancers. Chronic inflammation, essentially a constant state of low-level irritation within the body, can damage cells and create an environment that encourages cancer cells to grow and spread. Obesity itself is now recognized as a major preventable cause of cancer. So, what can we do about this? This is really about shifting towards whole, unprocessed foods as much as possible. Swap out those sugary drinks for water, still or sparkling, unsweetened tea or coffee, or milk. If you miss the fizz, try sparkling water with a splash of real fruit juice or a slice of lemon or lime. For snacks, reach for whole fruits, vegetables with hummus, nuts, seeds, yogurt, or hard-boiled eggs instead of packaged chips or cookies. When preparing meals, focus on incorporating plenty of vegetables, fruits, whole grains like brown rice, quinoa, oats, lean proteins like fish, poultry, beans, lentils, and healthy fats like avocados, nuts, olive oil. Cooking more meals at home gives you much greater control over the ingredients, reducing your intake of hidden sugars, unhealthy fats, and sodium found in many ultra-processed options. It might feel like a bigger shift, but even starting small makes a difference. Maybe aim to replace one sugary drink per day with water, or swap out one processed snack for a piece of fruit. These changes not only help reduce cancer risk factors, but also boost your energy levels, improve digestion, and support overall heart health. Benefits we can all appreciate as we get older, right? It contributes to that feeling of vitality and well-being we're all striving for. Thinking about these combinations, the processed meats with high heat, the alcohol and smoking pairing, red meat cooked intensely, and the sugary drinks with ultra-processed foods, it really underscores how our daily choices, even seemingly small ones, weave together to impact our long-term health. It's not about any single meal or occasional indulgence, but rather the overall pattern of how we eat and live, day in and day out. It's completely understandable to feel a bit concerned hearing all this, maybe thinking about your own habits or those of loved ones. But please remember, the intention here is not to cause worry, but to empower you with knowledge. Knowing about these potential risks allows us to be more mindful and make gentle adjustments that can truly make a difference over decades. It's like tending a garden, isn't it? We learn which plants thrive in certain conditions, which need more water, which need less sun. We make small adjustments along the way, adding some compost here, providing a bit of shade there, not drastically changing everything overnight, but nurturing the environment so everything can flourish. Our bodies are similar. By understanding how certain combinations might create less than ideal conditions internally, we can gently adjust our habits to cultivate better health. Think back to the processed meats. Maybe next time you're at the deli counter, you pause and think, could I try the roast turkey today instead of the salami? Or perhaps when planning a barbecue, you decide to include some delicious grilled vegetable skewers or chicken alongside smaller portions of burgers or steaks, and you remember to marinate the meat first. It's these small, conscious choices that add up. And regarding the sugary drinks and ultra-processed foods, perhaps the next time you're grocery shopping, you make a point of spending more time in the produce aisle and less time in the snack food aisle. Maybe you decide to experiment with flavoring your water naturally with mint or cucumber instead of reaching for a soda. These aren't about deprivation. They're about substitution. and finding healthier alternatives that you can still enjoy. Many people find that once they start reducing their intake of very sweet or heavily processed foods, their taste buds actually adjust, and they begin to appreciate the natural flavors of whole foods even more. Have you ever experienced that? It can be quite a pleasant surprise. The core message running through all of this is really about moderation, variety, and awareness. It's about favoring whole, minimally processed foods most of the time, being mindful of cooking methods, limiting alcohol, avoiding smoking, and reducing intake of sugary drinks and ultra-processed items. It sounds simple, but putting it into practice consistently is where the real benefit lies. And please, be kind to yourself in this process. Habits form over years, even decades, and changing them takes time and patience. There's no need for perfection. Aim for progress, not a complete overnight overhaul. If you have a meal that includes one of these combinations, don't beat yourself up about it. Just acknowledge it and aim to make a different choice next time. Every small step in a healthier direction is a victory for your long-term well-being. Focus on adding good things in, rather than just taking things out. Add more colorful vegetables to your plate. Add more fiber-rich whole grains. Add more water throughout your day. Often, when we focus on adding the beneficial things, the less beneficial things naturally start to take up less space in our diet. It feels more positive and less restrictive, doesn't it? Ultimately, taking steps to reduce exposure to these potentially cancer-causing combinations is a wonderful act of self-care. It's an investment in your future health, your energy levels, your ability to stay independent and engaged in all the activities you love. It's about giving yourself the best possible chance to enjoy these golden years to the fullest. I truly hope this chat has felt helpful and encouraging, rather than alarming. It's been wonderful sharing this time and these thoughts with you. I'm genuinely interested to hear your perspectives too. What are some healthy swaps or cooking methods you found helpful? Do any of these combinations resonate with your own experiences or concerns? Please feel free to share your thoughts, tips, or questions in the comments section below. Creating a supportive community where we can learn from each other is so valuable. If you found our conversation today useful or thought-provoking, giving the video a like would be really appreciated. It helps others find this information too. And if you'd like to join me for more conversations like this, focused on living well and staying healthy after 60, please consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. Remember to be gentle with yourselves. Celebrate the small positive changes you make, and keep nurturing your health. Wishing you all the very best, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Take good care.